Well, governments have got a bad track record, haven't they, Campbell, of picking winners when it comes to that sort of stuff. Every time they try and do it, it doesn't work.
Oh, it is really bad. The track record is appalling. And, you know, Pauline Hanson, quite rightfully, was just talking about some of the things we've seen from this government the last few years. I mean, we look at hydrogen, green hydrogen, which, you know, a lot of money has already been thrown at green steel, which seems to be going nowhere. You know, really a low taxes, minimal regulation, government getting out of the way of people who are entrepreneurs is what we need. That would actually see, you know, the real spirits of Australian business rise and would actually get somewhere. But energy costs, Steve, are really a critical problem right now. And I'm going to say it again, you know, Australians need to understand that this net zero caper is costing them every single day now, and prices will continue to go up if we continue on this journey. And it's a journey into hell, mate.
You got much confidence about what might come out of that roundtable in Canberra? I mean, you've been involved in summits and sitting around tables with public servants and people who, you know, are putting their wish list on the table. You're going to have the unions there. You're going to have big business there. Are we going to get any meaningful changes that will suddenly drive productivity and get the economy up and running again? Because despite what Jim Chalmers tells us, it's not running very well at all at the moment.
The economy is not running well, and we see that 80% of the jobs created in the last 2 years were funded by government. Now, that just shows you the unemployment figures are being propped up by government expenditure, and also, by the way, making inflation last longer than it should have. But in terms of what should come out of this summit, it's again what I've been saying already this evening. It's get rid of the blooming red tape. What really worries me is when I hear people say, oh, well, just to take one example, oh, we'll freeze changes to the building code of Australia for residential building for say 4 or 5 years. Like, if I was Premier of Queensland right now, what I would do would be pulling out of the Unified Building Code and saying Queensland's going to actually get rid of all this stuff by going alone. We're going to get rid of all the rubbish that's been injected, which is things like universal design and a whole lot of the carbon neutrality stuff or energy saving stuff, and actually let people build their own homes, and that would save colossal amounts of money. That's just one example. Australian big business, Australian big unions, Australian big government, they just can't get away from wanting to regulate stuff. I mean, just hear what I just said. Big business actually likes regulation. You know why, Steve? Because it keeps out the competition. It keeps out the little guys. It keeps small businesses small, and it keeps big businesses in semi-monopolistic positions.
What a depressing thought that is. I mean, you know, about 40 minutes ago, I had an ice cream shop owner from suburban Melbourne on the program. He's just got his fire and emergency services levy in his rates bill put on him by the Victorian state government. It's gone up by 300%. I mean, they have the hide to call the bill the Fire Services and Emergency Services Levy, trying to pretend the money's going to go into the pockets of the people who run the CFA. I mean, that's why people really get peed off about government.
Well, absolutely. And Stephen, what's disturbed me in the lead up to this summit is, you know, the conversation has been an enormous amount about tax. Tax, and more tax. I mean, yeah, and frankly, some people in the media who should know better have almost been on the bandwagon. I mean, people have been hailing, you know, bringing in road user pricing for electric vehicles. And look, I don't want to see any tax go into or ease into people's take-home pay. And yes, there's a big issue of equity. But what I'd say is, why isn't the narrative about bringing fuel excise for all petrol and diesel-powered vehicles coming down? Why aren't we talking about actually reducing taxes, freezing public sector expenditure, freezing the number of public servants, getting rid of red tape and bureaucracy? That's what we need to actually improve productivity in this country, not a mantra of more tax and somehow taxes, actually higher taxes, going to lead to productivity. What complete rolled gold baloney. I mean, we should go back to the early to mid-80s where we saw great economic reforms in the United States with Reagan, in the UK with Thatcher, and indeed under Hawke and Keating in the 80s in Australia. That actually gave us decades of prosperity. And yet the nongs who are going to this conference, and again, it's not just the government, it's big business and it's also big unions, are not actually talking about things that will really make a difference. And that really worries me, Steve.